Well, I've been working on this talk for a week or two, and I found that I couldn't figure out what it was really about. Have you ever had that problem? You know, you're thinking about something, what is this really about? And as I was thinking about that, it finally came to me this morning, and I thought this talk is really about freedom, even though it's really not a 4th of July talk, and it's not the freedom that we win with wars, but it's a freedom that we got when we were created in the beginning, that freedom to choose what it is that we want with our lives. And so I thought, well, okay, now let's see if I can mold the rest of the talk to go with that. So this morning, bear with me. As I was walking in this morning, I noticed how beautiful the grounds are. I don't know if you noticed that, but when you walk in, everything is all nice and kind of pristine and looks good, and I don't have to do it. And I particularly like that because I have a pretty big yard and a garden, and when I go out often to enjoy my yard, I see all of the things that need to be done. And I've talked with others, and they have that same challenge. So I have decided that one of the things that I need to do is to be able to sit in my yard, to appreciate it and enjoy it. And when I see those things that need to be done, just to be with it. And say, okay, that'll get done, but right now, I'm just enjoying my yard. I'm going to see how that works out for me. I'll let you know. I hope it works out good. But this is something that I think that we forget to do, and we remind ourselves often to really take the time with the old cliche to stop and smell the roses. But it's really true. It's something that we need to do, and we need to do it for our souls. Not just so that our neighbors will think we have a great garden or our friends, but to share it with our friends and to do it so that it feeds their souls as well. And so I've made it my mission to let you all know you're all invited to my house anytime you want to, just to sit in my garden and enjoy yourself, and you don't have to do any work. It's great. So I have found in some ways, not every way, in some ways I'm a perfectionist. And I'm really trying to kind of get past that and to be able to live with the perfection as it is. It's perfect no matter how it looks. Whatever is happening, there is a perfection there. And I have found that getting older is a wonderful thing. It puts a lot of things in perspective. And I've also found that I can live with some things that there was a time when I couldn't. And that makes me a lot more relaxed. So what I really want to talk about today is, are we slowing down enough to really enjoy the time we have here on earth? Because there are so many things that are pulling us here and pulling us there. Not only do we have jobs, and not only are we rushing around too fast, but we need to think and we need to contemplate, because that's where progress comes. That's where our creativity comes from. It comes from us taking the time to just sit and be still for a while, to contemplate life and to know that everything is in order and everything will get done. Everything will get done. And there will be time to do everything if we don't try to do it too fast and get all stressed out. I have been really impressed lately with the distractions around me. And I'm noticing other people with their distractions and my own distractions. And watching people when they're in the store or on the street and they're walking around like this. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed people walking around like this? Sometimes I walk around like that. And I see them go. And and did you know that the average teen sends 60 texts a day?
Oh my
and 3,339 texts a month. And I learned a few years ago that I had to just break down and learn to text. It was horrible. I didn't want to. I really tried not to. But people were texting me all the time. And it was like, well, what do I do? So I learned. I'm slow. People think I don't get their texts. It's because it takes me a while to get one back to them. And if my text is going to be too long, I just dial them. Because it's just not going to work. Does it seem like time is going faster? Well, it is for me, and we are busier than ever. Changes seem to be happening across the board, and we are working hard to keep up. Climate changes are creating havoc, and we're having to deal with them almost every day lately, it seems. Things are happening all over the country, all over the world with our climate. But it's not just that, it's so many things. In a blog by Jay Wall-Jasper, he says, it wasn't supposed to turn out this way. As a kid growing up in the 60s, I remember hearing that one of the greatest challenges of the future would be what to do with all of our time. Amazing inventions were going to free up great stretches of our days for what really matters. Friends, family, fun. But just the opposite has happened. And we've witnessed a proliferation of dazzling, time-saving innovations. Jet travel, personal computers, FedEx, cell phones, microwaves, drive-through restaurants, home shopping networks, the World Wide Web. Yet the pace of life has been cranked to a level that would have been unimaginable 3 decades ago. And I find that to be true. I find that to be very true. We are now a global society with information going out all over the world and people doing unprecedented things in the way of communicating and creating change in government, finance, health, and every aspect of human life. Amazing things are happening in the world today. Greg Braden, in an article in this Journey magazine, there's one in the back of the room, by the way, says, among the many uncertainties that come with such an era, there's one thing that we can know with absolute certainty. Our lives are changing with the speed that we've never seen, in ways that we're not prepared for, and faster than we've been taught to deal with. I think it is faster than we've been taught to deal with, but we are hanging on, and we are trying as hard as we can to keep up. We know that there are plenty of outside pressures that keep us running from one thing to the next. But what about the pressure we put on ourselves? And I have found this is the greatest pressure of all. I found that when I'm really under what I consider pressure, it's not necessary. Last Monday, I had an appointment with my ophthalmologist. And he only has his office 6 blocks from where I live, and I was getting dilated that day, so I wasn't supposed to drive. And, or I was supposed to bring a driver, and I didn't have one, so I decided I would walk to his office. And so I'm walking to his office, and I find myself hurrying. Now, I'm hurrying, and my heart's starting to pound, and I'm thinking, I'm stressing myself out about making this walk. And finally I thought to myself, why am I doing this? I have plenty of time. I'm not in a rush. This isn't necessary. Why am I doing this to myself? And so I decided, well, I'm going to stop. So I started to walk a little more slowly and just to start noticing the things around me. And I walked past a nursing home that I drive past a lot. It's right across from the Giant Eagle, and so I go by there quite often. And as I was walking, I noticed that their bushes were like manicured. They were like, looked like somebody had taken fingernail scissors and clipped them. They were really well done. And I thought, oh my gosh, I never noticed that before. That's really amazing. It's really quite beautiful. one of the shapes was very interesting and kind of geometric, and I thought, I like this. And as I walked along, I became calmer and calmer, and I just noticed more and more things. And I'd had a little anxiety about crossing Dover Center, because that corner there is kind of tricky, and I was thinking, well, you know, it's going to be fine when I get there. And so I was calm, I was relaxed. When I get to the corner, it's like the waters parted. There wasn't a car moving. And I just walked gently across the street. I didn't run madly or anything like that, like I sometimes do. And I got across, and I thought, well, that was easy. Isn't that the way life is supposed to be? Isn't it supposed to be easy? And I could have made it so much harder. And I thought, maybe I've got something here. Maybe I'm starting to get it. A little bit. I hope that's true. But in so doing, I realized that I was there and it was raining. And it started to rain really hard outside. And I thought, oh my gosh, I should have brought that umbrella. I knew I should have, because it was cloudy when I left, and it was like raining really hard. And I thought, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to walk in the rain. I thought, well, I won't melt. It'll be all right. So I'm going through this whole scenario in my head. You know what we do? We do this, don't we? You know? And as I was getting ready to leave, and all the office staff practically had left already, and I said, is it raining outside? The doctor said, well, I'll go look out the window. He said, no, it's not raining at all. I said, great. So I walked home. I didn't get rained on at all. In fact, I even stopped at the Giant Eagle and got a few things. But it was a great experience to know that I could change my experience from what it started out to be to something else. And we can all do that. I think we can all do it. And so we just have to relax. You know, the most part of life really isn't that urgent. And I've found that if you don't treat it that way, it usually doesn't turn out that way. So I invite you that next time you're starting to feel a little anxious, to just center yourself and relax, because that way you seem to just slide through the day, and everything just seems to part in front of you, and everything seems to go as it should. If it doesn't, make it okay that it doesn't. I think it's good when things don't work out that we like, that we make it okay. We make it okay that it didn't work out, and we do what we can to make it do what we want it to do. And I don't mean make it force. I mean to go with it. In Luke 10:38, we read, now it happened as they went that he entered a certain village, and a certain woman named Martha welcomed him into her house. And she had a sister named Mary, who also sat at Jesus' feet and heard his word. But Martha was distracted with much serving, and she approached him and she said, Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to serve alone? Therefore tell her to help me. And Jesus answered and said to her, Martha, Martha, you are worried and troubled about many things. But one thing is needed, and Mary has chosen that good part, which will not be taken away from her. I believe this is what we are here to do, to choose the good part, to choose that part that is most important, the thing that is most important in our life, and that is to realize that there is more than just serving and doing. There is more than just doing work. There is a time when we need to sit back. We need to take the time to go within, to listen to the still small voice that is there, and to listen to our heart as it teaches us. And what we will learn is priceless. You know, we will forget all of those doing things we did. But in the end, all that will be left is the truth that we have learned that came from deep within our hearts. What we will remember is the love that we have had for our fellow humans on this journey. And those things will be the enduring things that we will take with us on our journey. Why not use them now? Mary knew that food had to be prepared and served, but she had her priorities straight. The most important thing we can do in this hectic world is to slow down instead of thinking about what comes next. And sometimes we are in such a hurry, we miss some of the most wonderful things. In Washington, D.C., at a metro station on a cold January morning in 2007, this man with a violin played 6 Bach pieces for about 45 minutes. During that time, approximately 2,000 people went through the station, most of them on their way to work. After about 3 minutes, a middle-aged man noticed that there was a musician playing. He slowed his pace and stopped for a few minutes, and then he hurried to meet his schedule. About 4 minutes later, the violinist received his first $1. A woman threw money in the hat and without stopping continued to walk. At 6 minutes, a young man leaned against a wall to listen to him, then looked at his watch and started to walk again. At 10 minutes, a 3-year-old boy stopped, but his mother tugged him along hurriedly. The kid stopped to look at the violinist again, but the mother pushed hard and the child continued to walk, turning his head the whole time. This action was repeated by several other children, but every parent, without exception, forced their children to move on quickly. At 45 minutes, the musician played continuously. Only 6 people had stopped and listened for a short while. About 20 gave money, but continued to walk their normal pace. The man collected a total of $32. After an hour, he finished playing, and silence took over. No one noticed. No one applauded. There was no recognition at all. No one knew this, but the violinist was Joshua Bell, one of the greatest musicians in the world. He played one of the most intricate pieces ever written, with a violin worth $3.5 million. 2 days before, Joshua Bell sold out a theater in Boston, which the seats averaged $100 each, to sit and listen to him play the same music. Joshua Bell played incognito in the D.C. metro station, and it was organized by the Washington Post as part of a social experiment about priorities, taste, and people's perceptions. This experiment raised several questions. In a commonplace environment, at an inappropriate hour, do we perceive beauty? If so, do we stop to appreciate it? Do we recognize talent in an unexpected context? One possible conclusion reached from this experiment would be this: if we do not have a moment to stop and listen to one of the best musicians in the world, playing some of the finest music ever written, with one of the most beautiful instruments ever made, how many other things are we missing as we rush through life? What are all the things that we are doing that is causing us to miss so much? So I invite you this morning to live your life and experience it fully. Live it and experience it fully. The good, the bad, the indifferent, whatever it is, Truly experience it. Move into it, move through it, and truly experience it. It's not important the day we were born or the day we die. I like this little quote. What is important is the dash between those two. It's the dash that tells how we lived. Remember to live life moment by moment. Remember, there is one moment in time, and they come right after another. One moment, one moment, one moment. And see how much you notice and how your life takes on new meaning. God bless you, and thank you.